Well, hello everybody. I'm Joe Bob, your host here on Joe Bob's Basement, and that you know from tuning in every week. This is the show where we discuss everything from hunting and fishing to international monetary economics. Today we do the latter. Ah, I'm just kidding. It's me, your instructor, John Harvey. Okay, and I'm going to try to remember not to get too far away from the microphone because apparently it's not real powerful, unlike say Skeletor or He-Man. Now, let's see. When I left you last, we had done a bunch of stuff that looks like that. Well, we got one more left. All right. Number 54 says, show the effect. It doesn't say anything. You have to read it actually. Says, show the effect of a fall in the expected value of the dollar in the post Keynesian open economy ZD diagram. And hey, let's put that Rose Bowl hat back on. Since I've been playing my NCAA 2011 football and recruiting heavily for TCU. All right. Now, on this one, the first thing that happens, and I'm going to draw it up here on this graph, the first thing on the board, first thing that happens is going to be in the top left quadrant this time, because what's going to happen is there's going to be a change in agents' expectations of where they think the exchange rate is going to be in the future. And the point of this particular problem is to show that just a change in expectations can change real things in the macroeconomy, that it has an actual impact. So here we go. All right. As I said, when I turn away from the microphone, you can't hear too well. So I'm going to just not talk much when I turn over here. But I'm going to go ahead and set up all the axes. And as you can see, this board's really small, so it's going to be kind of tough to make this work. But you know what? I'm going to make it work. So go ahead and be drawing your four quadrants. Okay, you can see that very, very poorly, I believe. Let me lift it up here so I can show you what we get. Ah, that's better. Okay, so same, I'll take the hat off. Same four quadrants as always. On the bottom right, we've got what the ZD is going to be, and that's got N on the horizontal and PY on the vertical. Of course, the one above is going to have N on the horizontal as well. And then with the interest rate on the vertical, interest rate on the vertical here, and exchange rate, and PY. Hey, I pointed right at it. Okay. Now, I'm going to put in the initial situation here. Let's see. I guess. All right. The D curve is going to end up shifting up. All right. So remember that. All right. So you can kind of see that. There's the initial. And don't forget, you've got this exactly right online as well. But I want to kind of go through it and show you as I go through. Let's see. We're not going to shift M at all. But make sure it's kind of curvy so that something interesting happens. If it's dead flat, nothing interesting is going to happen. We want the interest rate to move. I'm going to go ahead and put N sub 0 right there. I'm going to go ahead and put N sub 0 right there. Or if I can put this in my pocket. Well, now I'd have to stop the video and see if it worked. So never mind. So we have our dollar sign sub 0 right there. And when I drag it over to the change mark on the left there's going to be a shift in that curve. There's going to be no shift in Z, no shift in the M curve. But FXM will shift to the right. And now I'm going to get There's the exchange rate dropping down. And so we're at that point right there. As usual, I'm going to start off in balanced trade. So we've got the ZD diagram and equilibrium on the bottom right. Then the M curve is just sitting there up on the top left. Well, now we have a glare. And then the FXM curve is just sitting there, but it will shift to the right. And I haven't drawn the BTFX curve yet, which I shall do right now. And I don't think it's going to make much difference on this one, but make it about 45 degrees. Okay, so there's all your initial conditions. Now, what's going to happen is agents are going to expect the dollar to depreciate. All right. So if they expect it to depreciate, they will immediately dump their dollar assets, not all of them, but some of their dollar assets, so that even at the same interest rate, even at the same R dollar sign sub zero, the dollar will be even at the same interest rate. And how do you represent that? You shift the whole FXM curve to the right, like this. I'm thinking maybe green. See how green. Okay, there's no way you can read that. I shifted it to the right, and then see that little FXM. I shifted it to the right, and you see that little exchange rate that I dropped down right there. That's going to be really hard to end up seeing. But again, you have this exactly right on the web page, so you can see how it works. I'm just sort of going through to show you how to draw it right now. Okay, so let me drop that down. I kind of drifted to the right a little bit. I didn't mean to do that, but actually, it's kind of helpful. Gives us a bit more space now. And we are now at that green point I put right there. Whew. Now, let's see. Let's go ahead and do the red 1 arrows. And those show what happened first. All right. First thing that happened was it was very rapid. Agents expected the dollar to depreciate. See if I can find a way to get rid of the glare there. That's not too bad. They expected the dollar to depreciate. They expected the dollar to depreciate, which caused the whole FXM curve to shift to the right, which caused an immediate depreciation of the dollar today. They expected it to depreciate in the future, so therefore they sold them, so therefore they depreciated today. That then caused a U.S. trade surplus. All right, the dollar depreciated, and so we were at balanced trade. But now over here to the right, at a much weaker dollar, but the same level of GDP, we have a trade surplus. Hey, look, you can't even see my mouth moving, so it's like magic or something like that. But I have been talking the whole time. So that, yeah, all right, so that gets us to there. Now, here's what happens now. So there's like a secondary set of events here, just like there was in the last question. And what's going to happen now is that the trade surplus is going to cause the demand curve to shift up. I'm going to use green again for that. So now you've got, we do this way. There we go. Now you've got balance. Now the next thing to do is to trace up that in change up to the interest rate, up to the money market, because the increased demand for loans is going to drive up interest rates. You raise real quick. Okay. So we've got people expected the dollar to depreciate, then, however, they saw surplus would put the interest rate back up a little bit. Not totally swamping the original movement, because otherwise that movement wouldn't occur. Not totally swamping it, but moving the interest rate back just a little bit. Now, if you drew yours where you accidentally had the interest rate being higher than the old one, then just cheat and make your dashed line not straight so that you make sure it ends up working. In fact, I had to just cheat myself. I'll show you what I did. Okay. So I'll show you. Yeah, okay. Starting down here in the bottom right, we have that led to now but that's the we need to end up still being on the right of the BTFX. Why? Because we have a surplus. Go back and shift it back down. Net. Why not net show a surplus? Not as big as it starts off. Well, let me show you here as I do it. Had I been thinking ahead, from there on out, I can come straight across. Okay, so once again, whatever number this is, 54. What happened was there was every time that people expect the dollar to depreciate. The whole line to the right is depreciate from 0 to 1. Then that immediately moved this off the BTFX curve down here to this point, to this green point right here. Like TCU and Baylor. Um, and okay, so that was the first. That was the number one. Then the secondary okay, well now we have this trade surplus which shifts the demand. Well, when demand curves up to the level And I got lucky there. I drew it right. I ended up with sub 2 here. And then the rising PY one and the appreciating dollar tends to take both of those are going to push us back towards the line, but not all the way. You still have to hit the net with a straight plus, or you wouldn't have had the other. Once again, this is all down exactly right on the web page. If you want to double check, make sure you did yours right. And compared to the mess that Billy Bob, whoever I said I was earlier, drew here on the board. Now let me show you the schematic. I wish I could have done this in my office. This is Melanie's office. It really kind of sucks. Mine's really cool. It has like a stucco hanging from the ceiling. It's got a portrait of my uncle that died in World War II, plus the telegram from the British government telling his mother in Ireland that he was dead. Uh, I actually have the ID tag of my great great uncle who was killed at Gallipoli. But this office turned out to be better for the video. I think I need the water bottle. Okay, close enough. All right. Now, what's the sequence of events here? Okay, it starts off with this. Oh, I did FX. Sorry, I did pounds on the graph. Whichever one, it doesn't matter. Oh, John, let me do that again. Okay, the very first thing is an agent's expected now. Next thing, what does that do on the graph? It shifted the whole FX to the right. Look at that tightward shift. Positive stuff, moving up and to the right. Then that caused the action exchange. Okay. People expected the dollar. Now that leads to and I really those are all the things. The idea being demand curve move, which is next. I think I'm going to drop it down here. That arrow should be coming out of the US trade surplus, and it is in the web page. You look it up there. And then now, just like the other graph, it's going to work just like the other one did once you have a D move. I'm gonna go ahead and just draw the rest of it out. Okay, it's not quite done. You have the increase in demand, meanwhile, the rise in even if the same smaller way, in order to get balanced, you would have to be weaker. So here's the last thing you write. You point out that last whew, and that's it. All right. So there's the next step, and that's the last graph study question. Now we've got a series of questions about, well, actually, it segues into this very nicely because on number 54, what I just showed you was, by the way, I learned how to do like video screenshots where I can like narrate over top of it. That was really fun, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to show you the piece of paper. So we just did this where the whole thing started off with a change in agents' expectations would then change other things. Well, the question is now, why would that happen? Why would agents change their expectations? What sort of thing currency market participants look at when they're trying to think about is the dollar going to appreciate or depreciate? And that's the next probably I don't know, 5 weeks of the class, something like that. I think up to the next exam and a little bit beyond that. So now a lot of focus on something that is not considered in other schools of thought because they don't agree on the importance of the financial market. If we think in this model here that the financial market is key, we got to explain it. And what's one of the key factors in the financial market? But people's expectations. All right. So on 55, and that's an easy one to answer on your own. It's a reading question. In fact, all these following ones here that I'm about to do are all reading questions, but I want to give you some background on them. On 55, it talks about uh, the impact of the forecast. Okay, here's the deal. In the neoclassical model, they're going to assume that the exchange rate is driven by some sort of set of what they call fundamental factors that really has nothing to do directly with what currency market participants are thinking about. For example, it's like it would be like if currency market participants were weather forecasters. You know, if every weather forecaster on the planet forecast rain in the Dallas Fort Worth area, does that make rain more or less likely? It has no effect whatsoever because a completely different process drives the rain. Okay, that's the way they view expectations in currency markets. That what's actually driving the prices is some set of fundamental factors, right? Meanwhile, agents have expectations, and those expectations can be right or wrong, and that's kind of what they focus in on. I wonder if people got the weather forecast right or if they got it wrong, and did they tend to correct their forecast when it was wrong, and so on. The post-Keynesian view says that the currency market dealers are determining the exchange rate in the sense that if every currency market dealer in the world believes the yen's going to appreciate, guess what happens? The yen's going to appreciate because they're all going to buy yen and yen denominated assets, and that's going to cause the yen to appreciate. So it's a very different world. So we have to figure out how do people make decisions. Now, I think I am going to try that deal where I narrate over top of something that's already written on the screen because I believe these next couple of study questions that would really help you. So I'm going to cut it off right here on this one. I'm going to put on my Colts Super Bowl hat. And I'm going to thank you all a lot for tuning in this week. Next week, we're going to be going spelunking, which is inside of caves, where we're going to catch blind fish. May the force be with you.